Right, ladies and gentlemen, MrSotko here. Welcome back to the channel. Got a whole bunch of good crypto news stuff for you today. And first, I would like to thank the sponsors of today's video, and that is KitKat Frozen Treats. KitKat Frozen Treats, it's like a wild, raunchy, bareback sex party in your mouth, and everyone is invited. So thank you for the generous donation. I appreciate that. But on to the main news. Cryptopia liquidation. Hacked Bitcoin exchange didn't use individual customer wallets. Probably not surprising to anybody, but we're just starting to figure this stuff out. So if you don't remember the Cryptopia hack, it was pretty bad, and they actually lost the private keys to their Ethereum wallets, etc., and the hackers had control of those, and people were still depositing Ethereum, and miners were still automatically depositing. And the hackers loved it because as deposits came in, they were still hacking. So unlike, other hacks where they just take it and then they fix the security breach, this one, they actually took the private keys, which leads me to believe that they literally had in the middle of their desktop probably a notepad with, hey, these are our Ethereum private keys, don't give them out. And the hackers probably found them. A little more complicated than that, but that's how I like to see it. According to a statement released on its website on Wednesday, Cryptopia didn't use individual crypto wallets. Instead, the Bitcoin exchange platform pooled customer funds into coin-mingled wallet or co-mingled coin wallets, which seems like a pretty good idea to me. Thus, the liquidations are facing a difficult time determining the amounts held by customers. Furthermore, Grant Thornton says it has to manually reconcile pooled wallet data with customer data information. So we are working to reconcile the accounts of over 900,000 customers, many holding multiple crypto assets, millions of transactions, and over 400 different crypto assets. These must be reconciled one by one. At the start of the year, they reported that hackers managed to steal an undisclosed amount of crypto. Subsequent details of the case revealed that the theft was close to 20 million. And again, people were still depositing after this, which just basically means that the private keys to these actual wallets were stolen, which I think is a first in terms of exchanges because people were still mining directly to Cryptopia, Ethereum, etc., and other ERC20 tokens or anything like that. And people were just taking them out. So again, never mind directly to an exchange, but yeah, the hackers were just having a field day with that. So, sooner or later, we may have some kind of customer requests for their funds back, but it seems like they have a long way to go. Millions of transactions, nearly 1 million customers, and 400 different crypto assets, which at the time made Cryptopia kind of a good exchange, although it was never very a good exchange. People used to use the term shittopia or craptopia because as soon as you got onto the exchange, you kind of it was like, this doesn't seem like a very good exchange. However, it was one of the only exchanges that you could go and basically trade virtually anything. If you got a hold of a random altcoin that had a very low market cap, typically it was on Cryptopia, and you could use Cryptopia to deposit it and get your Bitcoin out or trade it. And it was one of the only places to do that. And that's, I'd say, the main reason people used Cryptopia was because of the low cap alts. But so far, nothing really changed with the Cryptopia hack. But moving on here, US SEC issues cease and desist against ICORating.com. And I actually have that cease and desist right here in the manner of ICO Rating order instituting cease and desist proceedings. So ICORating.com was probably one of the worst crypto sites. If you don't know what it was, it just rated ICOs, go figure. But the problem was you still didn't really know if it was going to be a scam, if it was going to be a good ICO or not. It just had these really vague, basic, ambiguous ratings. You didn't know if they were real. Maybe they were paid for, maybe they weren't. You didn't really know. And fortunately, I avoided that, and I avoided pretty much every single ICO because, again, there was no way to know if everyone was just going to lose their funds. Are they just going to take your funds and never produce a product? Are they going to produce some kind of product that is just going to go downhill very, very quickly, which 99% of them did. As soon as they hit an exchange, they'd go up in price as people were putting it on there for a high sell price, and then boom, it would just explode from there. And that's why I tried to avoid any kind of ICO videos. I think I did a couple over the course of my couple years as a crypto tuber. But for the most part, I realized pretty quickly that there's just really no true way to know. So the SEC once again went after the ICO sector, this time targeting aggregator and review site ICORating.com. The site used an unofficial rating system, very unofficial rating system, to estimate the potential of token-based startups. And according to the SEC, never registered for its role. The procedure also required the company to pay a series of fines, including disgorgement of $100,000, prejudgment interest of $6,400, and civil money penalty of $162,000. ICO operated from December 2017 at the peak of the bull market, and July 2018 when the ICO sector slowed down significantly. During that time, not all ICOs were permitted to operate in the U.S. market. Still, the SEC noted that most of the traffic of the ICO rating site came from U.S.-based sectors. And the SEC's cease and desist order was based on the conclusion that the rating service went way beyond merely listing ICOs. The site received consideration and actively publicized token sales, including through its social media profiles. So, yeah, and likely a lot of the reviews were purchased by the ICO so that they could get a good review. It doesn't really say that in the article, but I kind of assume that, as that's typically the way the crypto market goes, is that pretty much everything is already bought and paid for with these ICOs and things like that. So moving on from there to some interesting news. Bitcoin miners halt operations as rainstorm triggers mudslides in China. So a prolonged rainstorm in China's Sichuan province has caused land and mudslides, forcing some local hydropower plants and Bitcoin miners to halt operations. Check out this wild video for anybody watching. I'm not going to make it large screen, so sorry about that, but wow. Yeah, that's a mudslide, all right. So pretty incredible. For those of you not watching, just listening as it would be a podcast or something, imagine two mountains coming together and a gigantic river flowing between them and smashing into buildings as people watch and film for some reason instead of running for the hills. Or although I suppose, what are you going to do aside from be inside your building and pray for the best? But pretty brutal. And then another video here of a man picking through some extremely deep mud. I guess it's so deep, but it's quite compacted, and picking out what appears to be S9 miners, maybe S11s or something, and the handle flying off of it. And they look pretty toasted, but you know what? Just scrape that mud off with a fine toothbrush, and that thing should just fire up no problem. Although I actually wonder, will they work after that? Some electronics still do if you just dry them out, but eesh, that's a lot of losses. Moving on here to just a simple Reddit article, 25 million in longs liquidated at BitMEX. So this was fairly recent. This was posted about 17 hours ago, and the chart is the last 6 hours. So pretty much in the last day, 24.81 million in longs completely liquidated. So the shorts won this time. So here's the thing with BitMEX. Now you can check the charts of the longs versus the shorts on BitMEX. You can easily Google it and find that. And you can tell when the longs are really high, people are thinking that the price of Bitcoin is going to go up. But you can tell when the shorts are very, very high compared to the longs, as people suspect it's going to go down. Now, a lot of people suspect that BitMEX manipulates this because, let's see, when it comes to a gold rush or the crypto rush, I think the gold rush is a good analogy. So you can go out west, during the 49ers era and try and make your way into the hills and mountains and see if you can find a good old nugget of gold and change your life forever. I would say 9 out of 10 people probably didn't happen for them. They found little bits of gold to get by, yada yada, but most of them were losers, I'm sure. However, who were the real winners of the gold rush? Well, that was everybody along the way, all the towns that sprouted up, although some of them died years and years after, but let's stick with it. And well, the guy that was standing outside of the mountain, standing at the edge of town saying, "I've got gold pans and I've got picks and shovels for you." That was the person who won the real gold rush. The person selling you the shovel, the pickaxe, the little sluice or whatever Because it didn't matter if you found gold or not. It didn't matter if he found gold or not. He is selling tons of pickaxes every single day and making a great living doing that. And that's sort of like BitMEX. If you have an exchange, it doesn't matter if the price is going up or going down. And, well, it certainly matters with volume, I suppose, and sometimes are better than others. But you're always making money, and you really don't have to worry about it that much. And with BitMEX liquidations, if the longs are very, very high, all that BitMEX has to do is sell a bunch of Bitcoin on their exchanges that they list and coordinate the margin calls on. And the prices that they go on based on these exchanges, and sort of aggregate those prices to an average. And they can just dump some coin on those and dump the price down if there's too many longs. And most of those longs will get liquidated, and they'll get a ton of fees for that. And vice versa with the shorts as well. They can just simply use some of their funds to pump Bitcoin, even just few $100 or so, millions of dollars in there. And they make many, many more millions in liquidations. And here's a really great comment right at the top. Question: what is stopping BitMEX from monitoring when the amount of longs goes over X threshold, then wash sell against them to liquidate them, then take them on the other side of the trade and go long and liquidate their shorts, and then do it over and over again every few weeks? You would think at some point they will lose customers that realize the perils of crypto margin, but it seems like posts like this don't stop, because there's always a post like this on the crypto Reddits, Bitcoin Reddits, etc., showing the BitMEX liquidations when the price is going way up. $100 million in shorts, liquidations, or when the price is going down. $10 million in long liquidations. In this case, it's 24 million. And these are quite common to see on Reddits and various forums and such. So you'd figure by now people would not margin trade anymore. Now, you can be a really great trader all you want, but when there comes to manipulation and whales who can move the price up and down. We've seen one just a week or two ago where somebody had sold thousands upon thousands of Ethereum, millions of dollars of Ethereum on one single exchange. Nobody would market sell that much Ethereum. If you had that much money, you're probably a smart cat, and if you had that much money, you wouldn't want to do that all at once because of the slippage of an instant market sell. With that much, you're not going to get your 15 million out of your Ethereum. You're going to get far less. So you wouldn't do that. You would want to split them up into different exchanges and then sell it, so there's not as much slippage. But somebody did, and somebody did it for a reason, and there was a big dump in price and a ton of liquidation fees at that point. So somebody is manipulating the market, whether it's BitMEX themselves or just plain and simple whales doing it, where they could set up a nice short margin trade and then sell a ton of Ethereum on an exchange that just happens to be aggregated with BitMEX liquidation average price fee, and then make a whole bunch of money. So not only did they make a bunch of money selling their Ethereum, they got a whole bunch more Ethereum when they shorted it. So it's just over and over again. So that's why I do not recommend margin trading at all in the crypto world. If you want to do it in the stock world, if you want to do it here, there, wherever, if you think you're a great trader, good for you. But the problem is that there is incredible manipulation in the crypto world. There still is basically no regulation. This is still the Wild West. If you lose your crypto, there's nobody to help you. If you go onto an exchange and it gets hacked, there's basically nobody to help you. You need to get a class action lawsuit. Nobody's just going to help you for you. There is no insurance except for maybe like some of the U.S. customer exchanges like Coinbase, etc. There's just nobody there, and to some that's a good thing. Because it's crypto and we don't need the government in it. But then to others, when you lose all your crypto and you say, hey, I got totally wrecked and I got manipulated and this should be illegal, then you cry to the government. So it depends on how you want to look at this. But margin trading, very manipulated. So somebody says, some say that is their business model. And another person says that is their business model. Trading in itself is a macro level socio-psychological scam for most people, wrapped up in a Wolf of Wall Street, you're a badass culture that tells these retards that they are special because they speak finance lingo and look at squiggly lines. Now, I don't really advocate the word of that this person is using, but kind of makes a good point. If you want to be a successful trader, then you better damn well own an exchange or own whale levels of liquidity, have access to good insider knowledge, quants, bots, office towers full of bankers or something of the likes at your disposal. That is the edge you need to be a successful trader. Now, I slightly disagree with that, but he does raise a good point. So all these people thinking, hey, I'm great at trading, I'm going to go margin trade. No, because you could be great and you could make a really great call that the price of Bitcoin is going to go up, and then boom, liquidations or whales, exchanges or whales completely liquidate you because of complete manipulation, because they sold hundreds of millions of dollars. And it might not even be intentional manipulation. If they want to sell $100 million worth of crypto or $10 million worth of crypto, it's going to rock the price and mess up margin tradings, whether it's longs or shorts, because there just isn't a lot of liquidity in the crypto world. If I sell hundreds of millions of dollars of Bitcoin, it's going to rock the price. I'd have to put tens of millions of dollars on Bitcoin on various exchanges to even get close to that money without insane slippage or destroying the price. But in the stock market, Wall Street world, that happens every second essentially, because there's so much liquidity. You just can't really do it too well. So again, if you're the kind of person maybe interested in margin trading, maybe don't. Just keep up trading. So even trading in a bear market, like sort of what we have now, it's hard to say if this is a bull or a bear market. I mean, we are up from when we were, so you could look at that positively, but then we went to 14,000 and now we're looking to go under 10,000 again. So it's hard to say. However, you could still even trade in a bear market, even when the price is going down. For example, Ethereum recently, it was like a day yesterday, maybe a day and a half ago. We can actually take a look at the price here. Even if you had bought in higher, you could have sold your Ethereum. It went up to like 202, sold your Ethereum at 202, rebought in at 183, and you would have bought in quite an additional amount of Ethereum. Even though you had bought in Ethereum way higher, you now have more Ethereum than you did before, and you're still waiting to sell at that higher price. But you sold here at 200 for a loss real quick, and then picked it up less than you just sold it, and now you have more Ethereum. So you're right back where you started with your Ethereum, but you now have more. So you can do it in a bear market, you can do it in a bull market. You just don't need margin trading. You just don't need it. It's sort of the gambler's mentality. You just don't need it. If you need gains that fast, then I think you need to reevaluate your investment principles, if you will. But again, $261 billion market cap, $10,030 Bitcoin, looking to dip under 10,000 again. So we'll have to see where we're going. Again, longs got liquidated not that long ago, and they're probably still getting liquidated as people are trying to bet that it's going back up, as it's kind of looking to be a little bit stagnant right now. But it is, at the same time, it's a little bit volatile too. So we'll have to see where this goes. But keep a nice tight eye on that. On those exchanges, if you will. But that's all I have for you guys. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, like the video, share the video. It helps me out a lot. My social media is in the description below. Check that out if you get the opportunity to do so. Follow me and all that good stuff. But I hope you enjoyed it, and as usual, I will see you guys next time.